want to welcome you back to Thrive in the Word. I am so glad that you have taken this time to listen to us and to hear this teaching from the Word of God. Here at Thrive in the Word, we teach verse by verse through the Bible. And we're in the book of 1 Peter. Today we're in the second chapter, and we're in verse number 22. Now, if you haven't had the opportunity to listen to the last couple of podcasts, I would encourage you to go back. They're only about 8 minutes long. Go back and listen to them and get a foundation. We simply do not have the time to completely go all the way back and talk about what we've already talked about. And so verse number 22 is a quote from the book of Isaiah, the 53rd chapter. And Peter is quoting this. And by the way, Peter was 100% Jewish. And in fact, he was so Jewish, he even got in trouble with Paul because he told Paul he shouldn't be eating pork chops. Anyway, but this comes from Isaiah 53. And it says here, who committed no sin, nor was any deceit found in his mouth. Now, he's talking about Jesus. He's talking about my favorite subject, Jesus. And Peter is saying that Jesus, that he committed no sin. You see, we always need to keep this in the back of our minds. Jesus was completely sinless in what he did. He never sinned. He never did anything wrong. Never. He was completely sinless, and he, again, Peter is quoting Isaiah, he committed no sin, nor was any deceit found in his mouth. Now, what is deceit? The word deceit actually means, we actually get our word deception from it. In other words, he didn't lie. He didn't say something. He wasn't hypocritical. What he said, he did, and what he did, he said. You see, there was no deceit found in Jesus' mouth. But now I want to go into verse number 23. And it says this, and while being reviled, he did not revile in return while suffering. Now the word revile means to speak badly of someone. You know, Jesus was spoken badly of. He was spoken badly of the Pharisees. They constantly were telling him, you're blaspheming, you're doing wrong, and they were constantly accusing him of things, accusing him of eating with the tax collectors and with the sinners, and constantly at Jesus and badgering him. Have you ever had someone that was just constantly badgering you, constantly speaking vile things or reviling you? There we get those two words again. And it means to speak badly with the idea of destruction. I know I have. But you know what? We have an example of a person who, even when he was reviled, he didn't say anything. Now, just think about this. He is God. They are reviling God. They are really blaspheming God. But yet Jesus, our example, said nothing when he was reviled. He didn't turn around and start speaking badly about those who attacked him. He didn't attack them in return. But notice again what it says here. And while being reviled, he did not revile in return while suffering. Now, can you see the picture here? Here's a man who's suffering. He's got a crown of thorns on his head. He's been beaten unjustly. He's been accused of all kinds of things. And yet, in those accusations, in that reviling, in that speaking badly, in that and using words to tear down, Jesus didn't tear down the people that were around him. Instead, he loved them. Instead, he spoke to them. He spoke to them from the cross. I'm thinking now of Mary, and who's his mother, and John, and how he said, John, take care of Mom. And Mom, here's your son. He's going to take care of you. What an amazing example to us. And now going back to verse 23, and he says, and he uttered no threats, but kept entrusting himself to him who judges righteously. How could Jesus do that? How could he do that? He was 100% God, but he was also 100% man. How could he do what he did? And how can we do what Christ did? How can we follow his example? And the end of this verse gives us the how-to. He did it because he trusted God. He kept entrusting himself to him who judges righteously. Now, we can look at that in two different ways. Sometimes when people come and they revile us, one of the things that really causes us harm is we begin to feel condemned. Even though we didn't do things wrong, we ask ourselves this question: what did I do? What wrong did I do? Why do I deserve this? But you know what? What we need to do is we need to go to God and we need to say, God, you judge me. Look at me. You judge righteously. And you know what? When you do that, you know what happens? You find a fortification, a strength in you to stand against those reviling words that people have used to tear you down. But then we look at it in another way, that God is going to righteously judge those who have reviled us. You know, we a lot of times think that they're just getting away with it. No, they're not. They are not just getting away with it. You know, the Bible tells us that the blood of the martyrs is in heaven speaking. You know what? They're not getting away with anything. God is going to bring a righteous judgment, but we as believers need to trust God to be just. That God's going to take care of all of this stuff that we've gone through, all of this suffering. God's taking note of that, and God's going to take care of it. It's not our responsibility. It's not our responsibility to defend ourselves. It's not our responsibility to revile and speak evil against those who are speaking evil against us. That is not our responsibility. So if that's your condition today, just let it go and trust God. Trust God. Don't allow those words to come in and bring condemnation into your life, but just trust God that you are in the righteousness of God. But on the other hand, trust God in knowing that he will bring about justice. Again, thank you for joining us here at Thrive in the Word.